that investors unwittingly may be throwing lifelines to communist China, and that's something we need to be aware of so we can put a stop to it.
Well, we're talking hundreds of billions of dollars, Kevin. This is unfortunately not tens of billions. In fact, I would not be surprised at all if now we've reached the $1 trillion mark. So these are funds that are coming from for the most part, unwitting American institutional and individual investors. As you know, the American people turn over their funds for management by somewhat faceless fund managers hoping for a good return. But they should also be thinking about their values, their moral compass, and risk concerns. After all, when you're a national security abuser or a sanctions violator or something of this kind, or PLA, you are creating a risk to share value in corporate reputation that should properly be shared in the prospectus or in SEC filings of one form or another in the risk section there. That's what we're counting on to understand who we're dealing with here and who their subsidiaries are before we make an investment decision. Unfortunately, the fund managers of our country have not engaged in that kind of diligence. They've looked the other way or lack the expertise and concentrate on more classic criteria. But how do you have a blind spot that big? It's very troubling.
It is troubling, and it's a short-term mentality. And one of the prime examples I've talked about a lot is Alibaba, which did become the world's largest IPO in history. $25 billion was raised when it was raised. The Chinese got hard American currency, and what we got were shares of a variable interest entity out of the Cayman Islands that has no corporate responsibilities, transparency, governance capabilities whatsoever. It was so bad that the Hong Kong Stock Exchange turned down IPOing this very large Chinese company. But we took it on Wall Street because, well, it's going to go up. It's going to get a good return. That's selling out our morals for a quick buck, and that's not acceptable. And I don't think people want to do that.
No, I don't think so either, that's for sure. You take a firm like Hikvision, surveillance cameras, probably the largest producer in the world. The stock's done pretty darn well. It's in the MSCI Emerging Market Index, which is subscribed to by some $2 trillion of funds under management. 14 trillion or so more mimic the MSCI. That is, they buy the same stocks that they do. And that entity has been buying A shares, so-called mainland companies, right out of the Shenzhen and Shanghai exchanges, Hikvision among them. And who's Hikvision? Well, of course, their surveillance cameras are littering the walls of the concentration camps holding 1 million or more Uyghurs in Shenzhen. You have the facial recognition technology that is trying to help round up undesirables in the Chinese mind in Tibet and Xinjiang and elsewhere. So these are human rights abuses. You're not going to find that properly disclosed. And we're talking about a fantastic windfall for the Chinese. They can't believe their luck that they can sell their mainland stocks, both PLA or human rights abusers, into an index like MSCI Emerging Market or All World Index, or even worse, the Bloomberg Barclays Aggregate Global Index, which is $54 trillion, and everyone that's tracking that index has to buy that stock. It's not like I want to, buy into the index, but I don't want this or that company. You buy them all. So you can imagine the day they get into an index, they in effect go viral. They enter every healthy cell of the American body politic. Perhaps over 100 million Americans would end up holding that stock. It could be more. So these are the kinds of concerns we have, and China has broken the code on how to do this on a wholesale basis so that they don't even have to wait for individual stocks to be purchased. The easiest way for them is the index funds.